Studios. This is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Beautiful day out there. Thank you for tuning in. It's about an hour from lunch. What are you going to eat? What are you going to put in your gut, Robin?
Ooh, I don't know. It's got to be something healthy today. It's Friday. It's Lent.
When we were kids, we had no idea there were things in our guts called microbes, right? I don't remember learning that. Maybe I was just not paying attention or something. Dr. Raphael Kellman is on the phone. He is a pioneer of medicine. Am I saying it right? Microbiome medicine.
Yes.
He specializes in functional and integrative medicine. He manages a thriving medical practice, a lecturer, and he's got a book you got to check out. It's called The Microbiome Breakthrough. Harness the power of your gut bacteria to boost your mood and heal your body. Remember when we were kids, bacteria was a bad thing, right?
Yes, it was.
Not always the case necessarily. Let's find out about this from Dr. Kellman. Good morning, doctor. It's an honor to have you on our show.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
And where are you calling from?
New York City.
All right.
Nice.
The home of the microbiome. So why is it that we were kids? Now, just so you know, Robin and I are not young, and we've been around a while. So I don't remember learning about this. I don't remember, but I'm sure you're right. I just don't know what this is. What is this?
Well, I mean, it's new. It's very new. All this information about bacteria in us, called the microbiome, which, by the way, there are trillions of those guys in us. They outnumber our own cells, believe it or not, 10 to 1. We're mostly bacteria, but they're the good guys. This is all new information because for 150 years, we've been led to believe that bacteria were the bad guys. They were disease-causing. They have to be, eradicated and killed with antibiotics, and we have to use Purell all the time. Now, which this has changed to the opposite end of the spectrum, that they're actually the most important element of our health within us, that they're the good guys, and not only do they maintain our health and prevent disease, but they can also be harnessed to help us overcome symptoms, health issues, and diseases and disorders. So, of course, you and I, and probably most of our listeners, have never heard, we're not taught about the microbiome. They're probably still they're not teaching it yet. But the information is out there, and as I said, it's a revolution in science and medicine.
So do we need to know, as non-doctors, what to do to maintain a healthy microbiome?
There's only one thing to do: buy my book.
Okay, so that implies that the book will teach me something, right?
Yeah, well,
So what will it? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. What will it teach me? Give me a few,
exactly.
Free samples.
Okay. First of all, it teaches us a new way of thinking and a new way of seeing. That's number one. A whole new reorientation to nature, to our own health, and what's controlling our health, what's going on inside of us that we must know in order to maintain health, and also how to get healthy when we're not well. So we need to know the diet. Let's start with that. That the diet is not the types of diets that we've been taught or that we've been reading about.
Right.
It's actually a much easier diet. It's the easiest of all diets.
Really?
And why is it is, because you're harnessing the bacteria to help you in this diet, meaning you're not going to crave the unhealthy foods or the foods that you used to want to eat, and you don't have to do anything other than just follow the diet. You don't even, not that you shouldn't work out, but you don't need to. That's not part of the diet, really, or this program.
So
and it's also, it's also not about which foods you should stop eating. It's which foods you should add. And then, by itself, in and of itself, you'll stop craving those unhealthy foods. So the basic component of the diet is eating the foods that help the bacteria in us, the microbiome, to become healthier, to become fuller, to become more diverse, to become more green, right? And those are foods that have certain compounds in there. Some of those compounds are called fancy names like inulin and arabinogalactan. The foods that contain these compounds are Jerusalem artichokes and jicama and radishes and leeks and asparagus, but also just leafy vegetables. Just salads also play a very critical role in improving our microbiome. So I delineate this whole program, and I also list various foods that are particularly beneficial for the microbiome. Also, fermented foods.
Does your body, do our bodies let us know if we're doing it wrong?
Well, good question. It will let us know. You see, right now, the body is telling us nonsense. It's just telling us the wrong things. It's confused itself. So the messages are scrambled. And that's because the microbiome is not healthy, and then the brain is not healthy because there's direct communication. They're speaking to each other by sending different messages, either speaking to the neurons, sending messages from the microbiome to the neurons that go to the brain, or through chemicals, biochemicals that the bacteria make that then directly speak to the brain, and then chemicals, biochemicals that the bacteria make that then it's sent to the immune system, and then the immune system to the brain. So there's many, many paths of communication and many languages being spoken between the microbiome and the rest of the body. So if the microbiome's not healthy, we're going to be desiring and craving unhealthy foods.
Okay.
But when it is healthy, our body will speak a clearer language, and it will push us to eat healthier foods.
And in your book, you equate childhood trauma with the unhealthy.
Oh, yeah. Yes. It's quite significant and not widely known that one of the causes, and it's a major cause, of the microbiome becoming unhealthy, disrupted, to lose its equilibrium, is early childhood experiences. And astonishingly, it affects the microbiome. The microbiome is picking up on this, and it affects them. And then from the get-go, the microbiome is unhealthy. And then down the road, that could lead to so many disorders and diseases. One of the important tasks of the bacteria is to modulate and to keep the immune system in a state of balance, because if it's not, it could run amok. It could burn the body down. It could be so powerful. It has to be controlled. The microbiome controls that. It balances it. If the microbiome's not healthy because of adverse childhood experiences, you're much more likely to get immunological-based problems like autoimmune disorders like Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, and rheumatoid arthritis, and lupus, and many others. And now it makes total sense why the studies are showing that if adverse childhood experiences is associated with a significant risk of developing any autoimmune disorder.
Are analysts and physicians aware of this? We know a lady who has been ill for the past 6 years. She's been going to a lot of doctors. Nobody has been able to diagnose it. She's of retirement age. And sometimes she'll get physically ill, and then all of a sudden she'll get better and be better for a while, and then it'll happen again. And the doctors can't figure it out.
What are her symptoms? What are her symptoms?
She gets very tired, and she gets headaches.
I'll tell you, as a general rule, if someone has unexplained problems and symptoms that defy explanation, right, and they go to doctor after doctor and no one has any explanation and the labs come back normal, a significant percentage of those people have a microbiome issue. They have gut issues. Now, they may not even know it. They may say, oh, no, my gut's fine. That's not the problem. No, don't jump to conclusions. You could have significant microbiome issues in the gut, but you have no gastrointestinal symptoms. Now, those microbiome problems can cause widespread symptoms, from brain fog to depression, anxiety, difficulty focusing and concentrating, declining memory, it can also cause autoimmune disorders. It could cause joint pain and muscle pain. It could cause imbalance, just feel neurological. You could feel off balance. You could have muscle cramps. You could have tingling and numbness. You name it. You're more likely to developing it, but you could develop all kinds of symptoms that there's no diagnosis for. Think microbiome. And what could you do about it?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I developed a field, I called a field of medicine called microbiome medicine, because it's not just taking probiotics, but it's a whole program. It's multiple levels of treatment, of understanding, and then treatment that will then lead to a healthier microbiome. So one is, of course, the diet. One is understanding our psychosocial state. Our state. Where are we at any given moment? What's the internal experience that we may or may not be aware of? What are we eating? Are we eating a lot of chicken that's not organic, that's full of antibiotics? Do we go to a doctor every time we have a cold, and the doctor has nothing better to do than give us another antibiotic? Now, sometimes it's needed, but it doesn't mean you always need it. Are you taking a proton pump inhibitor like Prilosec or Protonix or Omeprazole for 6 months, and you don't have symptoms anymore, and the doctor never addressed the issue whether it could be stopped? That's another significant risk factor for a microbiome issue. So these things you have to, address, and then you have to take the right types of probiotics, right? And the right types of prebiotics.
And the book will help us know which are which, right?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a question. If I wanted to disinfect the countertop in my bathroom, I might use rubbing alcohol, right? And it kills the bacteria, is what I was told, right? So what happens when we drink an alcoholic beverage? Does that kill the bacteria? Is that a good thing, or does it not affect it at all? What happens when we drink beer or wine or something?
You're asking those. Let's say you're drinking a fermented drink, right? And like beer, by the way, and there's also alcohol in there. Will it have an will it affect the bacteria? No.
No, why not?
No, I just don't think it's in a high enough concentration, and it also depends on the type of alcohol. But in terms of how to clean our homes and our countertops, etc., there are many ways of doing it. We don't have to use compounds that are full of toxins. There's more natural ways. But look, there's a place for removing bacteria, and then there's a time, most of the time, when we should not be thinking like that. In other words, every time we go outside and we play in the dirt, hopefully, people do that. I don't, because all I see is concrete here in New York City. But something? There's a positive effect of putting your hands in the dirt, rolling in the dirt, and not washing it off right away, and not putting Purell on it every time you go outside and you touch the plants or the trees.
Can I dwell on it just for a second? I had heard this, that like the firstborn baby of a new couple, the couple keeps the baby away from everything. And then the second and third, the parents are a little bit used to the baby, so they you drop the lollipop on the floor, go ahead, drink. And we're told that because the second, third, and the other babies, they're exposed to more bacteria, that their bodies are actually healthier and more resistant to illnesses, right?
You're totally right. It's called the hygiene hypothesis. One of the reasons, perhaps, that there's more autoimmune disorders in the Western world, or in places like America and other countries that are more advanced, quote unquote, that we're more likely to have autoimmune disorders. And the theory is, one of the theories is that because we're not exposed to enough bacteria, we're not exposed to a plethora of bacteria that will work itself out to maintain a balance, and that it will make us accustomed to them and used to them, that we won't react to them when they come into us individually in a hyper-reactive state, because they're already part of us in a balanced way. So we're not going to overreact to them. That's why there's tremendous benefit in diversity and being exposed to diverse forms of bacteria, and then they'll work itself out, and there's going to be a more harmonious interaction between our bacteria and the immune system. So the immune system will be in a healthier state, hence lower incidence of autoimmune disorders.
You have recipes in your book, as well as different meal plans, and they're very delicious sounding. They're not just, stick something in a blender and then you're good for 6 hours.
I'll tell you something. They're amazing recipes. I could say this and brag because I didn't make them up. Of course, I worked with a chef, but there are people who tell me, who are chefs themselves, and I've gone to many cooking schools, etc., that this is unbelievable. That the recipes are incredible, and I could tell you, I see so many people who tell me that they've lost, and I've never seen them. This is the first time they've come to my office. I've lost 35 pounds, and I just followed your book.
Is that right? Wow.
That's right.
So
that's
what is the difference between, you've got two books I'm interested in. One is called The Microbiome Diet, and the other one is The Microbiome Breakthrough. What is the difference between the two books?
Yeah, well, The Microbiome Diet is focusing more on the diet and metabolism and weight. Metabolism, and the microbiome breakthrough has more to do with the connection between the microbiome and the brain, and also the microbiome and overall health.
You're on the. First of all, you're getting really good reviews on both books, but I wanted to talk about the Microbiome Diet book, because you're having a lot of reviews where the reviewer mentions a positive effect that your diet had on somebody who had a thyroid condition. Can you explain that? What exactly happens?
Okay, so let's say that person had Hashimoto's hypothyroidism, an underactive low thyroid because of Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune disorder, which means that there's inflammation on the thyroid and you're not producing enough thyroid hormone. And again, what could be causing this is alterations in the microbiome. So when you follow the diet and the book and all these suggestions and the prescriptions, the treatments, that will heal the microbiome, and that in turn will heal the autoimmune disorder. So that's one reason why this diet can help people with low thyroid. But also, remember, when you heal the microbiome and the immune system and the gut wall that is supposed to prevent toxins from leaking through gets healthier. And now, as opposed to before you did this, it's blocking a rush of toxins that can adversely affect the thyroid. So improving the microbiome will absolutely improve one's thyroid condition.
And this is good for down the road as we get older, and in some people, dementia starts setting in. If we can kind of ward off the symptoms for a few years by doing your observations, it would be a blessing.
Absolutely. I mean, if it's not about just taking probiotics, it's following this comprehensive program. My belief, and it's well supported by the emerging scientific literature and also my experience, is that it improves the underlying physiology associated with Alzheimer's and cognitive dysfunction. So whatever's causing that physiology and that function, cellular function, brain function in general, to be going down, this program is bringing it back up. So, yes, there's all these issues that are causing its deterioration, but now you're bringing it back uphill in a positive way. So I firmly believe that if especially the younger people, if they start adopting a healthier lifestyle, especially related to the microbiome, that this is going to have a significant effect on the incidence of cognitive decline and dementia in the future. But even today, if we just start this program today, you'll see folks or listeners improvement in brain function, and you'll see also an improvement in people who have already dementia. You will see improvement by and large. Yeah, I can't promise on every situation, but I can tell you that by and large, it will improve brain function, and it will improve how the person's feeling and how they're acting. The research says this.
Can a doctor take a test or something and determine if I have a healthy microbiome or an unhealthy one?
Absolutely. There are multiple ways of looking into a healthy microbiome. The first way is by looking at different biomarkers, different biochemicals in us, in our blood, that are a reflection of the body's response to the microbiome, to a healthy or an unhealthy microbiome. So let's say it's very unhealthy, imbalanced. We'll see the immune system's response by blood tests that pick up certain biomarkers of an inflamed immune system. Wow. So it could be like CRP, it could be a compound called IL-6, it could be a compound called TNF-alpha, different compounds. We can also see different chemicals that bacteria are making, and if they're making too much of a certain chemical, then it means that there's an imbalance. There's too many bacteria in a certain category. We can also do a stool test, but it's not just that regular stool test that looks for, really bad infections that are causing significant diarrhea or that. It's a much more comprehensive stool test that really look at the different bacteria that tend to be part of a healthy microbiome. Then there's also Ubiome, which is a big map of the microbiome in many ways.
Does dairy affect our microbiome in a bad way?
Dairy?
Yeah, dairy, like milk.
Yeah. Well, it's a good question. I would say that the answer is by and large no, unless you happen to have an allergy to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, but by and large, I would say no.
Okay. I have a copy of the book. This is a very comprehensive book, and it was so kind of you to send us a copy. So I would like to give this away to one of our listeners. If you would like the copy I have of The Microbiome Breakthrough by Dr. Raphael Kellman, call me right now. I'll let the phone lines light up, and I'll pick one at random, and you can have the book. The rest of us have to go buy it, including myself. I am interested in not only this one, but the microbiome diet also. So I found it on Amazon. Do you have a website you'd like to recommend?
Yeah, it's KellmanCenter.com, KELLMAN Center.com.
All right, very good. I find it fascinating that it actually affects our psyche, too, our moods.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
That is interesting.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, Doctor, thank you for sharing this with us. Obviously, more information we can get on to a short radio interview, but thank you for doing what you did. And I'm going to give away the book right now, but don't go away. Let me give it away. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
This is Jennifer, again.
Jennifer, you got it.
My goodness. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. It'll be waiting for you. Dr. Kellman, thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
News, I'm Chris Foster.
This had nothing to do with collusion with Russia.
President Trump says he feels bad for his former campaign chairman Paul Manafort, though, hit with a 47-month prison sentence and maybe more to come.
Appearing in a Virginia courtroom in a wheelchair, Manafort told the judge the past 2 years had been the most difficult of his life. Since Manafort has already been in jail for 9 months, he'll get credit for time served. Still, Manafort is expected to get more prison time next week at a hearing in Washington. In that case, he pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland. That plea deal was thrown out with Manafort found to have lied to investigators. It's a weak February jobs report with the economy adding just 20,000 jobs, but the president says,
I think the big news really was that wages went up. And that's great for the American worker. That's something people, I don't know if they ever expected to see it.
He's on his way to Alabama now to survey tornado damage. This is Fox News.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. It's the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Palm Garden announces Fast Track. Fast Track, focused assessment, safe transition. When a new guest is admitted to Palm Garden, we start with the ABCs. A is the assessment to determine what the guest needs. B is for basic care, which is excellent nursing and therapy. And C is for consistency to provide what's needed throughout the stay. Fast Track. Palm Garden will get you home fast, really, really fast. Take a fast tour of Palm Garden, located at the corner of Southwest 27th Avenue and 34th Street.
We all know the importance of good health, but we may not know the latest advances in medicine that are available to us. Monday at 9:05 a.m., Bern Perez will be our roving medical reporter to tell us about Seven Hills Gastroenterology PA and Dr. Reddy. We will discuss screening techniques and more, so tune in and listen. This is more than news you can use. It's news that could save your life. That's Monday at 9:05 a.m. right here on The Source, WOCA.
Attention passengers for Flight 1370. The plane has been delayed at its departure point and will be at least 2 hours late. We apologize for any inconvenience.
Are you serious? It took us over an hour to get here, 2 hours going through security and getting our tickets, and now we have to wait another 2 hours.
Yeah, it's beautiful here, but we're inside this overcrowded airport all day because the plane is stuck in bad weather.
This is the last time we ever do this. When we get back, we're going to Ocala Aviation and getting our pilot's license.
Yeah, we've been talking about that long enough. It's about time we did it. Then we could just fly ourselves and never have to deal with this mess again.
Right. No long lines, no full body groping security, no baggage checks.
Not to mention never losing your luggage. Remind me again why we haven't done that?
Well, we're idiots.
Oh, right.
Attention all passengers for Flight 1370. It looks like the plane is going to be delayed a little bit longer. The airline has lost the pilot's luggage. Isn't it time you got your pilot's license? Call Ocala Aviation today. 352-861-7484. That's 352-861-7484. Hey, you've earned it. Call today.
Here are today's headlines from The Source, WOCA. In their first floor meeting of the new legislative session, the Florida Senate has voted to legalize the smoking of medical marijuana.
The medical marijuana law they passed 2 years ago prohibited smoking, but State Senator Kevin Rader says patients prefer it.
My mom takes medical marijuana, and it's the greatest form of medicine that she takes to relieve her pain. I've had to roll joints for her. Haven't never done that before, but my brother-in-law showed me how to do it. Stop laughing.
Many lawmakers are uncomfortable with the whole idea of medical marijuana, let alone the smoking aspect, but 72% of the voters approved a constitutional amendment authorizing it, and the state Senate voted 34-4 to make it happen. The House is expected to pass the bill within the next week. Rick Flagg, Tallahassee.
Election Day 2020 is still 1 year and 8 months away, but it is not too early for candidates seeking seats at various government levels to make an announcement that they are running for seats. Yesterday, Sheil Arnett announced that she would be running for the District 1 seat on the Marion County School Board. Arnett will be competing with at least one other candidate for that same seat. Todd Yoakum announced his intentions for the job in January. Nancy Stacy, who currently holds the District 1 seat, has reportedly made a decision to retire. Arnett ran last year for the District 5 seat, currently occupied by school board member Kelly King. A jury in West Palm Beach is not buying a former police officer's stand-your-ground defense in his trial for killing a black motorist while on duty. Officer Newman Raja was found guilty of manslaughter and attempted murder in the fatal shooting of a stranded black motorist in Palm Beach Gardens.
That case is from 2015 when African-American Corey Jones got out of his broken-down SUV and he was confronted by Raja in Palm Beach Gardens, who was dressed in plain clothes. Prosecutors say Raja never identified himself, and that prompted Jones, who had a concealed weapons permit, to pull a handgun because he feared he was being robbed. The Florida Stand Your Ground statute allows anyone with a legitimate fear